7-7 game set to begin the second half here in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium with Troy Aikman and Pam Oliver. Tom Brenneman, great to have you with us, and happy Halloween. Like a couple of fighters feeling each other out through the first half, Minnesota deferred on the opening kickoff, so they'll get the ball to begin the second half. Do you expect to maybe open it up a little bit more?
Well, I think Jimmy Johnson made a great point there at halftime that both of these teams have come in and it looks like they're just trying not to make a mistake, especially there with the Minnesota Vikings. But, you know, not coming away with points, big momentum shift there before the end of the first half.
We invite you to follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Brady and the Patriots, a 5-1 record, well aware that the team which they were tied with atop the AFC North, or the AFC East, I beg your pardon, lost earlier today, being the Jets. The leaders of the AFC North, the Steelers, are also 5-1 like the Patriots. Percy Harvin returns a very short kick up to the 29-yard line. We look inside some of the numbers from the first half where Minnesota ran it extremely well. You know, in so many areas they've dominated, but it's still a 7-7 game.
Yeah, I think that number right there, when you look at time of possession and the Vikings for the most part 2-1 advantage, that'll pay dividends if that continues throughout this second half. They're running the ball a lot with Adrian Peterson, as we saw 18 carries there in the first half, and that'll start to wear this defense down.
And he'll get it for a 19th time. And leaps over a would-be tackler. Let's check in downstairs with Pam Oliver.
Well, Tom, I heard one Minnesota player complaining about, you know, we keep giving them life and we have to stop doing that. I spoke to Brad Childress, got his assessment of Brett Favre's play in the first half. He said he's playing with great command so far. He also said the week of preparation and the week of treatment really kind of set this whole thing up for Favre to be able to go out there and do something. Back to you.
Pam, thank you very much. Brett Favre, of course, back in May had ankle surgery. Decided to come back for a second year with Minnesota. He's been battling tendonitis in his right elbow the entire year. Mired in an investigation, of course, by the NFL over inappropriate conduct in his lone year with the New York Jets. And now playing with a broken bone in his heel, another in his ankle, but makes a start, completes a pass here to Greg Lewis. The only two incompletions for Favre in the game, one an intentional grounding penalty, and the other one he threw out of the back of the end zone intentionally.
Well, he's been amazingly efficient throughout the first half, and they really haven't asked him to have to do a lot. You know, I mean, he's made some nice throws. We've seen the throws to Percy Harvin, you know, in the intermediate zones, but a lot of quick passes, get the ball out, and try to keep him from getting hit as much as possible. As Brad Childress said yesterday, you know, we're not going to be running a lot of 7-step drops with Brett Favre. The idea is 5-step drops and get it out. And that's what they've been able to do.
Inches short of a first down. See, 14 times he's dropped back. And really has not been hit hard.
Brad Childress and him had a conversation on Friday, and I guess Brad was talking to him about the things that he wouldn't be able to do, the bootlegs, the scrambling, things of that nature. And I think Brett got a little offended by that. He says, hey, I know what I can do. You let me figure out what I can do. I know my body. And it's remarkable. We talked about it before. The fact that he shows up each and every week to play.
They've been stopped twice, 3rd and a yard, 4th and a yard, and it looks like Peterson on a second effort was able to pick up the first down this time, and they'll move the chains. Well, wait a minute, after it is the first down.
Yeah, Gerard Warren, he got in there and did a pretty nice job coming off the block there and makes good contact with Adrian Peterson, but that just shows you the power and the strength of Adrian Peterson. I mean, this guy, you said it. I mean, he's a freak. I mean, you talk about speed and quickness, but then with that, rarely do you combine that with great power. I mean, he has it all. The only thing he doesn't do a lot of is catch the ball. You know, I mean, it's a lot of underneath checkdowns, but not really much of a receiving threat down the field.
Play action, and that's Shanko, the tight end, into Patriots territory to the 47-yard line and a first down.
see Visanthe Shanko off the play action, which is setting things up nicely because they're running the ball so well with Peterson, or at least getting a number of carries, that it's opening up those middle areas. And I think Moss, watching his body language, he said he needed to be patient coming into this game, and he really has been.
Play action again. Trying to bring it back with one hand was Shanko. Second down and 10.
And that is what really got lost coming into this game was Randy Moss coming home. And I know that he was looking forward to playing in this game, and we had a chance to visit with Randy a couple of weeks ago, getting ready for the game right after he had been traded to the Minnesota Vikings, and asked if he was surprised by it, and he said no. I really kind of smelled it in the air. He knew that his days in New England were numbered, and that he would not sign the big contract that he was looking for.
Quick slant catch made by Randy Moss. So there's his first catch of the day. You got to give a lot of credit to both the New England Patriots and Moss. Moss never said anything bad about New England. In fact, a lot of good things about his relationship with Tom Brady. Robert Kraft, in fact, before the game, went over and made it a point to shake hands and visit with Randy Moss. A lot of times those things get ugly. It didn't this time.
Well, nor should it have. The Patriots gave Moss an opportunity. He became a Hall of Fame player while he was with the Patriots. When he was at Oakland, there were a lot of people thought his career was over.
Fake it to Harvin, and Favre throws to Peterson out of the backfield, and he's down to the 12-yard line. Make it the 13-yard line, but it's a first down, Minnesota.
Peterson just kept the play alive, and it looked initially like Favre might try to keep it and pick up some extra yardage on the ground, but he saw Peterson down the field. Not sure Peterson had to jump to catch that one, but that was a nice gain. So even though you come into the game saying, hey, we're not really going to get Favre outside of the pocket, we've seen now a couple of times him do just that.
25-yard completion. They hand it to Peterson, and he loses one. Tully Banta-Cain on the stop along with Gerard Mayo.
And this is kind of the question about this New England defense, because the Vikings have put together another good drive. And even though the Patriots haven't given up a lot of big plays throughout this season, they have given up a lot of yardage, and teams have been able to drive the football against them. And that becomes the question as to how good this team's going to be for this season. Are they good enough on this side of the ball to do what ultimately they'd like to do?
Screen to Peterson. Tripped up by Sanders and then finished off by Mayo down to the 5-yard line. Here we go again, another third down and a yard.
We see the screenplay there to Adrian Peterson, and that's an element of this offense that we've not seen as much of that we saw in previous years, because Chester Taylor was that guy who was so good, and there's so much timing that goes into running the screenplay effectively. It's not just turning defensive linemen loose and then getting offensive linemen out in front. There's a lot more to it. And I know they've been trying to work more of that play with Adrian Peterson.
It's third down and 2. Too high on the pass, intended for Berrien. So out comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, late. Phil Lodeholt, he gives up the pressure. Tully Banta-Cain, he's their best pass rusher and has been for the last couple of seasons, and he's the guy who's able to get the hit late. Not much separation there with Bernard Berrien. James Sanders doing a good job in coverage.
Ryan Longwell has been perfect so far this year. And it's still perfect. Opening drive of the second half. Favre and the Vikings march down the field and take a 3-point lead. (10-7) Minnesota in front. Patriots will get the football for the first time in this second stanza. As Longwell puts a foot on it, Brandon Tate has returned a pair of kickoffs for touchdowns this season. And both have come in the second half, but not here. Great coverage by Minnesota. Heath Farwell, a Pro Bowler a season ago, running down Tate. The punter, Zoltan Mesko, wears number 14 now, but for Patriot fans, they'll always remember 14. Our Then and Now segment, Steve Grogan, a quarterback of the Patriots for 16 years. And we talked about that 85 season. He replaced the injured starter Tony Eason, led him to a Super Bowl, and now Troy Aikman. He owns Grogan Marciano Sporting Goods in Mansfield, Massachusetts, and has for 16 years. 16 years of playing quarterback in the National Football League, a long time. I actually thought he had played longer. I grew up watching him all those years. First down catch by Rob Gronkowski, and he is shot down by Mediu Williams.
These throwback uniforms that we're seeing the Patriots wear here today, I like this look. Of course, that's what we saw Steve Grogan wearing when he was playing, but well, I think it's a clean look. I like what they've got on there.
Little delay to Green Ellis, and he's up to the 34-yard line. That's a first down.
You look at New England offensively and kind of how their year's gone so far. They're only ranked 19th in the league coming into this game, but they're number 1 in scoring. They're 3rd in the league protecting the ball, and then they're also 3rd in the league on third down, which are all pretty important things, especially scoring. The scoring, however, is a little misleading because they've led the league with 5 touchdowns coming from special teams. As you said, Brandon Tate. They also had an interception return for a touchdown.
Jared Allen tracking down Brady, and Tom just threw it away.
I know that the way that this season has gone so far offensively has been somewhat frustrating for Tom Brady, as he has to unload that one because of the pressure by Jared Allen. But it seems like every other week they show up. There's 3 times this year this offense has been held under 300 yards of offense, which is pretty incredible that they haven't been able to be more productive. The other 3 games, they're averaging over 400 yards of offense, so it's kind of been hit or miss each week when they've shown up to play.
Brady looking around, escapes trouble, throws, caught by Tate with a man to beat. Touchdown, Brandon Tate.
First of all, you're going to see the safety here work to the middle. So you've got one-on-one on the outside with Asher Allen, but it's because of Brady keeping this play alive. There's no reason for Asher Allen to believe that the ball's still going to be in his hands. There he is there, and then it's just a scramble drill at that point by Brandon Tate. Allen thinks he's in great position. Tate goes deep, and Brady finds him for the touchdown.
Gostowski's point after is good. Longest pass play by the Patriots this season, 65 yards to the former North Carolina Tar Heel, Brandon Tate. Brandon Tate, a 65-yard touchdown reception, giving New England its first lead of the game at 14-10. Wynn really holds up that kick, and Harvin in a dead sprint to come and get it. And Harvin up to the 41-yard line. So good field position for Minnesota. But certainly the Minutemen loving this by the Rockets' red glare from Brandon Tate. Things beginning to heat up here in the third quarter. Favre and Brady, the 2 of the 3 winningest quarterbacks over the last decade plus in the NFL. Joined, of course, by Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. First down, Favre. Looking for Percy Harvin deep. Incomplete. Outstanding coverage by the rookie Devin McCourty. Had help from Brandon Merriweather.
Well, Favre saw Brandon Spikes on the blitz, and so he checked to the deep route and trying to get the ball down the field to Percy Harvin. Great coverage there by Devin McCourty, the rookie, and had an opportunity to come down with a second interception in consecutive weeks. Goes down a little bit slow after that. He was slow to get up. Take a look here at the passing by distance. That was just the second pass that Favre has attempted beyond 20 yards.
The other he completed to Adrian Peterson, who gets the ball on second down and 10. Minnesota trailing midway through this third quarter. 14-10 on a 65-yard pass and catch for a touchdown to Brandon Tate.
You look at the game that Brett Favre is having here tonight, and at least statistically speaking, and I think otherwise as well, it's the best game that he's had this year, which goes back to what I said coming into the game. Hurt or not, I wouldn't bet against number 4.
Flag down. Walt Anderson, our referee.
False start. Number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
That has plagued Minnesota this entire year, and in particular, that line 13th false start.
Yeah, he's had some untimely penalties, including last week against the Green Bay Packers when he got the face mask penalty. Of course, he got a pretty stiff fine this past week handed down to him by the league office as a result of that penalty.
3rd and 11. Right by where they needed to get for a first down. Needed to get to the New England 49, and boy, is this going to be close.
When you get that close for the first down, oftentimes you got to go a certain distance, but I've always said that as a receiver, when you get to that point, you got to take it just a little bit further so that when you come back to the ball, you catch that, and then you're well beyond the first down chains.
Oh my. On a 4th down and a couple of inches, what will Brad Childress do here? His team trailing 14-10. He says we're punting.
Yeah, there's not a decision to be made here. I think going for it on 4th down for the touchdown there in the first half, I agreed with the call. That's one that you could go either way, but right here this early in the game, I don't think there's any question you've got to punt this one away.
Down to the 6:30 mark. They may take the delay of game here and give Kluwe a few extra yards to work with. Perhaps not. Down to 10. Walker signals for the fair catch and juggled the football. Was able to bring it back in and took a hit from Frank Walker. That wind is starting to become a factor here in New England. Tom Brady and the Vikings with the football. Brady is hit on 10 of 16. The running game has pretty much been null and void for the Patriots. And they'll throw on first down. And Brady pitching a 10 back there. Couldn't find an open receiver. Certainly had enough time. Take a look ahead to Week 9 in the National Football League. It all begins with a Ford Fox NFL Sunday pregame show brought to you by the all-new Ford F-150, built Ford tough. You'll be back with your partner Joe Buck. Giants in Seattle next week.
Yeah, looking forward to that trip to Seattle as we take a look here at Jared Allen. And Leslie Frazier, as I said, spent time with Jared Allen this week in the film room trying to figure out why it is that he hasn't been able to get home. But Matt Light, like last week with Chad Clifton's done a heck of a job against him.
Woodhead tackle to the 13.
And sometimes these defensive linemen, they take exception to the fact that they're judged based on how many sacks they get. You make one good play in a game and everybody will say, hey, he had a heck of a game, and he may not have, but simply because he had a sack. But in visiting with Jared Allen, he'll be the first to tell you, hey, that's what I get paid for. They expect me to get pressure on the quarterback and get there and get him on the ground, and that's what I've got to do a better job of.
Third down, they bring the house to Brady, and he still has time. And it's incomplete.
Well, and that just shows you, because that's not something that Leslie Frazier really wants to have to do. But because we saw Tom Brady back there standing in the pocket with no pressure, that in order to get something on him, then they've got to bring Chad Greenway. Good job there by Woodhead picking him up. But this secondary, we saw the play Asher Allen gave up, but that's tough duty when Tom Brady's scrambling around. But this secondary, I think, has been outstanding in this ball game, considering the amount of time that Tom Brady has had for the most part in the pocket.
Let's go from his own end zone. And the wind again just knocks that thing straight down. And right at the 50. Brett Favre goes back to work. Many wondered, would he start? He's trying to put his team back in the lead with 5 minutes to go in the third. Hey, we'd really like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching our telecast in 175 countries on AFN, the American Forces Network. We thank all of you for your service, and may God bless you all. We certainly remember those who have served and will serve. Peterson runs into his own man and then breaks it to the outside for a gain of 9 on first down to the Patriots 40.
And that's what you've got to do a better job of defensively. New England does that. That's what Adrian Peterson's capable of doing. You can't lose contain on him. They did a good job of bottling him up inside, but then they didn't secure the outside edge, which allowed him then to break contain and pick up the 9 yards.
122 yards from scrimmage, 85 of those on the ground for Peterson. Play fake, and Favre had it in and out of the hands of Harvin, and then intercepted by McCourty, who races down the sideline. And a drop ball, it appeared, by Percy Harvin.
That was an excellent route by Percy Harvin. The ball just got away. I think it has more to do with the wind that they're fighting throwing the ball. But you see a heck of a play there by Devin McCourty. It didn't so much bounce out of his arm as what it looked like. Devin McCourty just slapped it out and then was able to take it. We'll take a better look at it right here, but he got the separation, ball behind him, and McCourty just kind of snatches it right away from him. That's a heck of a play there by the young rookie. You see Favre going down, trying to beat Ginger there with the left ankle. Jeff Dugan doing a heck of a job of chasing McCourty down, but a ball that just got away from Favre a little bit, and that's what ultimately led to the interception.
First down carry for Green Ellis, and his best run of the afternoon takes it to the Minnesota 26. Favre rolling over top of Dugan on top of that left ankle, but appear to be fine coming off the field. Patriots in hurry-up mode. Green Ellis for three.
Of course, Devin McCourty, he's the rookie. A lot of people thought back in April that the Patriots should have drafted a pass rusher, but Bill Belichick went with Devin McCourty. He said he liked him as a 4-down guy, meaning he can help out on special teams. Came out of the game after he landed on the ball on the previous possession. He said the first thing Bill Belichick told him when he got drafted and showed up in New England is, "We have no cover corners here. You will tackle."
Woodhead, a first down to the 13.
I like this Danny Woodhead. He's listed at 5'9". I think he's more like 5'7" or 5'8", but you know, he's a heck of a player. He's a dynamic guy that, you know, if you use him properly, he can do some nice things, and they've been able to do that here in New England. And with Kevin Falk going down, he's been a nice guy to bring in and use within the passing game coming out of the backfield, because without him on the roster, they really don't have that type of player with Falk out of the lineup.
Back to Green Ellis to the end zone.
Good job of blocking up front. Stephen Neal, the right guard. You're going to see him pull around, and Algie Crumpler does a good job as well, and that's what secures the lane then for Green Ellis.
Fifth consecutive game with a rushing touchdown for the third year back on the The point after is good, so after the interception, the Patriots don't fool around. They tack on 7 more to this third quarter lead. Much has been made about the relationship between Brett Favre and Brad Childress. It's been a rough week overall for Childress when you consider the fact that he got slapped with a $35,000 fine from the NFL after berating the officials. And I got to be honest with you, I think he had a very good case in the game last week against Green Bay. But having said all that, not only did he publicly berate the officials, but then he, you know, leaked some of the information in a private conversation after the league told him they had the call wrong on the touchdown of Shenko. Short kick and a fair catch by Kleinsaucer at the 29-yard line with New England in front 21-10. Well, a week from tonight, Halloween isn't over until the Simpsons say it's over. The all-new Treehouse of Horror and Hungry as Homer, the episode you've been waiting for, finally here. Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 1 week from tonight, only on Fox.
You know, Brad Childress wasn't the only one to undress the officials. You know, they had the conference call during the week, reprimanded by the commissioner of the league. Those officials overall have had a tough year.
Peterson tries to spin away from a would-be tackler, but there to make the stop is Ron Brace. Brace grew up just over in Springfield, Massachusetts. Played collegiately at Boston College.
Yeah, Ron Brace, he came in as a second-round pick and last year, and a guy they expect some pretty good things from, and came in out of shape and didn't make the conditioning test, and they're hoping now that he'll begin to play to the level that they expected all along.
Peterson up to the 37-yard line.
Well, it hasn't been the day that Randy Moss expected coming back to New England, but you know, there's a reason for that. They've done a lot of different things, New England has, to keep him from getting the ball. He's just gotten one reception on a short pass, but you see the various looks that he's going to get. And he anticipated that coming into the game, but they just haven't been able to find ways to give him a chance. And I know that Brett Favre is wanting to, and he'd like to give him a chance down the field, but you just can't throw it into coverage, especially when Percy Harvins has been able to work the things underneath the way that he has.
Favre trying to get some momentum back and get a first down. It doesn't look like Shenko got there. Ninkovich wrapped him up and appeared to deny Shenko first down yardage. What a play there by Ninkovich.
Yeah, I think Shenko was thinking that Ninkovich would overrun him and that he would come underneath him for the first down. And in hindsight, he would have had a better opportunity had he have caught it and then just turned up the field and picked up the first down that way. But a heck of a play there by Ninkovich.
Set to bring back this Kluwe punt, and the former college quarterback from Kent State is dropped in his track to the 9-yard line. Frank Walker on the coverage. Well, we talked about since Robert Kraft bought this franchise, and the success has just been, well, it's been amazing. Back in 1994, since then, they've won an NFL best 3 Super Bowls, an NFL high 5 conference championship. They played 25 playoff games and won 17 of them, both playoff highs. And of course, he's a lifelong Bostonian. And we talked about Randy Moss, since leaving, has had nothing but good things to say about New England. And Robert Kraft coming over to visit with him before the game. Well,
and Randy Moss, along with all these other players, they appreciate the ownership that Bob Kraft has provided.
Woodhead makes a catch on what will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. The Patriots have opened a 21-10 lead, and Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. As we're set to begin the 4th quarter, it doesn't feel like 44 degrees. That wind has really kicked up, and it could be a factor before this thing's over.
Absolutely.
2nd down carry, good enough for a first down.
Yeah, the one thing about it, Tom, was Minnesota had the wind at their back there in that 3rd quarter, and they just failed to take advantage of it. And, it's blowing pretty good. We've seen it on the kickoffs. We've seen it on the punts. Now New England has the wind at their back, but it will be hard for Minnesota to drive the ball for Favre to into this wind the way it's blowing tonight.
Juggled by Gronkowski, incomplete 2nd down.
Race in October.
Woodhead getting lost among some of the big bodies in there. A short gain brings up a 3rd down, and here we are, a minute into the 4th quarter. Yeah, there's a lot of time left, but if Minnesota wants to try and get back in this thing, they need stops in a hurry.
Well, they got to get pressure here, like we talked about. We focus on Jared Allen not having had a sack, this being his 5th game without one. This defense, this is their 3rd game, the defense in general without a sack. So that's contrary to what this defense is about, or has been about.
Hernandez across midfield, and a first down for the Patriots.
Well, they almost got there, Jared Allen, but almost just isn't good enough. Matt Light has him. You see Aaron Hernandez, he's in the backfield, and they run a natural pick there, and that's why Hernandez was as open as he was. They run him from out in the backfield, and they're unable to get, looked like it was Asher Allen, that they were trying to line up on him, but he got caught up in the wash, and Aaron Hernandez makes his first catch of the game.
And of course, he is New England's 2nd leading receiver in terms of receptions. He is their leader in receiving yards in his 1st year.
We'll take another look at it and see, and what you're going to see is Aaron Hernandez here, but looks like that might be Antoine Winfield that got, yeah, Antoine Winfield was the one who was in coverage, and he runs into Asher Allen because Asher Allen was covering the man who was running the slant route. Aaron Hernandez, you're right. I mean, he's off to a great start for his rookie season, and he's been their big play guy. He leads the team in yards per catch.
Woodhead ran into his own man. And right in the back of Stephen Neal. Was following our game. The OT presented by Lowe's. And then we'll join Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Ken Rosenthal, and the entire crew for Game 4 of the World Series from the ballpark in Arlington, Texas. Rangers trying to even the World Series at 2 games apiece. Hernandez makes a reception, but is short of a first down, so Minnesota will get the ball back.
Jared Allen, he's trying in the speed rush around Matt Light. He just about got the ball. He swipes at it there, and had Brady have brought it back a little bit further to deliver it and wound that thing up, then Allen was there to knock it loose.
Of course, Jared Allen made the quote, said we've been a team of almost through the first 6 games this year. Overend punt by Mesco. Well, Mesco has that one go out of the end zone after it was touched, but then unable to be downed inside the 10. "11 minutes to go in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and the home team in front 21-10. Vikings from their own 20. They fake one way, roll the other, looking for Harvin down the middle, and he makes a catch right at the 50. Took a vicious hit from Sanders, but hangs on to the football.
That's a heck of a throw by Brett Favre. First, take a look at Percy Harvin. We've seen him exploit this area a couple of times off play action, get the linebackers to bite. And Favre, you know, he's moving well enough to at least get him out, move the pocket, set him up. But that was a ball that had to carry Gary Guyton, number 59, and then drop it in front of the safety. A perfectly thrown pass.
Gain of 30. Slant to Berrien. Is that a fumble? No, an incomplete pass. Well, that's a catch Berrien's got to make. He's not had much playing time this year.
Yeah, and if you want to get the ball thrown to you more, then you've got to be able to haul that one in. And Bernard Berrien, a couple of years ago, he was the big play threat down the field, one of the first guys signed when Brad Childress became the head coach. And you know, since that first year here, his role is kind of diminished, and this year he's more of an afterthought. Of course, when you bring in Randy Moss, you've got to get him on the field, but Bernard Berrien has just not had a lot of opportunities, but you got to catch the ball when you get them.
Well, I believe New England called a timeout. Bill Belichick appeared to be pulling up his pants leg to be looking for that red flag over on the sideline to challenge it. He couldn't find it in time.
This is the first charge timeout, New England.
There's the flag, but he didn't throw it. That's a problem for all of us. You hide something, you got to remember where you put it. After the timeout by New England, 2nd down and 10 for Favre and the Vikings. Set up a screen, but it didn't work too well.
Yeah, I think you go back and you look at this Berrien play, and Belichick initially was going to throw the challenge flag and say that Berrien had possession of the ball and it was a fumble, and then it was clearly recovered by Gerard Mayo. But that's a play that cannot be challenged. The only thing that could have been challenged was if, in fact, it had been a catch, and not if it was a catch fumble. There was no way that New England would have been able to get the ball.
All right, 3rd and 10. Toby Gerhart wide open and still on his feet. And he's down to the 30-yard line. That's a 20-yard gain on 3rd and 10. As we're under 10 minutes to go, but Minnesota on the move.
Well, and you're going to see why it's a 15-yard gain, because Merriweather, you see him, look how deep he is right here, and that's because of the Moss factor. They don't want to give up the big play, and he's going to be the first guy to make contact. on Toby Gerhart, but by the time he gets there, yeah, Gerhart's already traveled 15 yards. Now, I have never seen a safety play that deep in the NFL in all these years.
Across the middle to Adrian Peterson. Takes on the hit from Kyle Arrington along with Mayo. That'll be a gain of close to 9.
Well, Adrian Peterson, I mean, he's shaking that right arm right there, and you know, most running backs at the end of a play like that would just go out of bounds, and I'm curious to see how many years this guy plays, because he is such a physical runner after he gets the ball in his hands, and he never shies from contact.
Well, they spot it, another 23. So it's a gain of 7. Play clock, they just get it off. Blitz coming. And Favre throws incomplete. That did clear the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, but I don't know that he was out of the pocket. I'm surprised that they didn't throw the flag there. I didn't see anybody in the area. They're talking about it right now. And there's the flag.
Yep.
But you see that he's definitely within the pocket, and then he gets pressure there by Dane Fletcher.
Number 4. The 10-yard penalty and loss of down. 4th down.
You know, you don't lose anything. I think people look at that and say, gosh, why do you do it? But, well, if you don't do it, you're going to take a sack anyway, so you might as well try it and see if you can get away with it.
So it's a 3rd down and 13. It's a huge play for Minnesota to try and get closer with 8:31 to play. Jailbreak coming. Favre looking for Randy Moss, and that's a flag against the defender Brandon Merriweather. Spot of the foul will be the 8-yard line. 1st and goal upcoming.
They brought an all-out blitz. This time they bring Devin McCourty in one-on-one with Merriweather. That's the first time today that they've shown one-on-one coverage, and they've got him matched up on a safety. And you know, it was actually a smart play by Merriweather, because that was going to be a touchdown. Favre laid it up perfectly, and Moss was going to go get it. And you know, once Merriweather saw that he was running a go route as opposed to a hitch or something of that nature on a hot route, then that was a smart play on his part, just getting the PI and not giving up the touchdown.
All right, 1st and goal. They'll spot it at the 9. Batted away and played perfectly on defense by McCourty.
You're right, Devin McCourty, he's on Greg Lewis there in the slot, and he's in a great position. And I'll tell you, Tom, we had a chance to talk with Devin McCourty, and well, what an impressive young man he is. You could see why he's a Bill Belichick type of guy. You know, bright-eyed, smart. He's a complete player.
Peterson with a catch inside the 5. You know, I was starting to say, here you are, some of the most critical offensive plays of the game. And Percy Harvin standing next to Brad Childress over there on the sideline. I mean, he's been the playmaker in this game next to Peterson. And now Harvin back in on a 3rd down and goal. Harvin in the slot. Through the hands of Randy Moss, and a flag is down, and so is Favre. And just trying to get him off the deck is Steve Hutchinson. 41 years old.
Illegal contact, number 24, defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Playing with a broken bone in his ankle, broken bone in his heel. Tavares Jackson will start to crank it up. The Favre will get up.
Well, Steve Hutchinson, Myron Pryor is the one who comes in and puts the lick on Favre, and he was able to beat Steve Hutchinson, the all-pro left guard. Got a pretty good move and a clean shot. Right on Favre.
He is clearly shaken up badly. Up under his chin. You know, people can say a lot of things, and you know, they talk about coming out of retirement and all that stuff. You're looking at a 41-year-old man who's playing a game with the biggest, strongest, fastest athletes in the world that are trying to hit him on every play.
Well, he had a good look at it, and you see him come in with the helmet there, and you saw Favre grabbing his jaw. I think that's where, you know, you're right under the chin. You know, you hate to try to speculate as to what it might be, but there's certainly blood on the chin, and whether or not he broke it or what exactly happened, but looked like Belichick's upset with the penalty, you know, on the throw. And you're going to see, here's Harvin trying to work the slot. There was a hold right there. And that was on Jonathan Wilhite against Percy Harvin. And that was a good call.
So here's Tavares Jackson, who's playing for the first time this season. Jackson, a one-time starter. And his very first pass is a touchdown pass. Nafahu Tahi. And a point after away. Or do they think about going for two? They probably should here with 7:26 to go. A two-point conversion brings them within a field goal.
Well, Nafahu Tahi, he just comes out into the flat, and they just turned him loose. There was a bust there in the linebacker level that allowed him to get as open as he was. And yeah, no doubt, you come in here now, you know, an extra point doesn't help you much, and you've got to get the two-point conversion to cut it to 3 points, as we, you know, see Favre, you know, clearly with the shot underneath the face mask into the chin.
So now the two-point conversion to try and make this a 3-point game. Tavares Jackson.
I think they'd roll him out, Tom.
Jump ball in the corner. Harvin, did he get it? He did. What a play by Percy Harvin. I mean, step for step with him is Wilhite.
Well, and it was a ball that was, you know, just where Percy Harvin could make a play on it, but a great job of bringing it in because Wilhite was right there.
Back in Foxborough, Massachusetts on this Halloween night. And Brett Favre in tremendous pain. Taken off on a cart. Eyes closed. Compression on the chin. They never speculated about anything, but Troy Aikman, you know all about getting blasted in your chin. How many, 40 stitches through the years?
Every time I got touched, it split open, yeah. But the thing that I would be concerned about with Favre is that we never saw him open his mouth. You know, he never talked, never moved his mouth at all after that hit.
Great coverage. Jamarcus Sanford getting down there to make the stop. Let's go back to the hit on Brett Favre.
Yeah, there's Steve Hutchinson right there, left guard. Myron Pryor, you see the move that he puts on Hutchinson, and that's a pretty clean shot there on Favre, as we saw. You know, nothing really illegal about it. He came in, initial contact was in the chest, but you know, when you're tackling a quarterback like that, invariably the helmet then rides up the shoulder pads under the chin. And having been the recipient of those types of hits for a lot of years, that's not fun.
First down. Green Ellis nearly broke at the distance. A saving tackle by Chris Cook.
Well, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, he's you know, not real flashy. He's just pretty steady, a downhill runner. Started this season pretty low on the depth chart, has worked his way up because of injury, but he's also been a pretty good runner when given the opportunity, and now he's the man.
Couple of missed tackles as Minnesota tries to strip the football rather than just make stops. And that's a gain of almost 10 for Green Ellis.
Yeah, this defense, I think the play of the offense for Minnesota through the first 6 games has given this defense a little bit of a pass. You know, I mean, so many times talk about the points that have been given up, and you know, even the interception that they had that Favre threw, there's nothing in the playbook that says then you got to give up a touchdown, which is what they did.
A lot of movement along that line.
False start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
It's Sebastian Vollmer.
Yeah, New England didn't like that. You saw all those guys, the big guys up front clapping. They went with a hard count. Tom Brady did to try to draw Minnesota off sides, and I don't know. I didn't see a lot there by Sebastian Vollmer.
Well, 2nd and 1 becomes a 2nd and 6 as we're closing in on 5:40 to play. This becomes the single biggest defensive series of the game for the Vikings. Trying to get the ball back. Incomplete.
Boy, you see Wes Welker get out. They tackled him. Ben Lieber and Wes Welker's wondering, you have got to be kidding me. Take a look at this. He's waiting on the ball, and then Lieber definitely made contact with him before the ball arrived. I think Wes Welker, you know, he's been so good. He's averaged well over 100 receptions each of the 3 years he's been here, and 1,100 yards receiving. But a lot of them have been those crossing routes, and now linebackers each and every week are looking him up.
3rd down and 6. First down. And it's Welker.
Well, you talk about competitive guys. Wes Welker, he's about as competitive as they come. A heck of a player, and what he's been able to do, and a Pro Bowl guy. Remarkable that he came back as quickly as he did, blowing out his knee last year, the last game of the season, and he worked his tail off to get back out on the field this year. I know Tom Brady was glad that he did.
First down, they'll give it to Green Ellis. And he's dropped for a 2-yard loss. Minnesota has 3 timeouts remaining. And it looks like the Vikings, are they going to take one here? No. Clock continues to run. The OT presented by Lowe's follows this one from Foxborough, and then on we go to Arlington, Texas for Game 4 of the World Series between the Giants and the Rangers. Word we're getting is a lacerated chin on Brett Favre. His return questionable.
51. Watch 156.
They just do get it off. In and out of the hands of Welker. So another 3rd down upcoming with 4:02 to play and a 3-point spread. Told you the last 2 games, not a single sack from a team which led the NFL in that category a season ago, and you see never has a Vikings defense gone 3 straight games without a sack.
It's just hard to explain. I mean, you've got Ray Edwards and Jared Allen and Kevin Williams. And I think Brian Robinson is a heck of a player as well. It's a good group not to be getting more pressure than they've been able to get, but a big 3rd down right here.
Big time pressure to Woodhead, and he escapes the tackle and has a 1st down. Able to break through the reach of Asher Allen, and a huge 3rd down conversion for the Patriots.
That's a huge broken tackle there, and Asher Allen was in a great position. The Minnesota Vikings, they brought the linebackers. That left some space, but you got to make that play.
Timeout taken by Minnesota. It should be 2 timeouts remaining. There you see one of them disappearing. 3:43 to go, and Green Ellis chewing up yards in time. A gain of 5. Well, many wondered, would Brett Favre start after breaking a bone in his ankle, another in his heel. Made his 292nd consecutive start. Played a good game here tonight. Peterson ran the ball very, very well, but a couple of scoring drives for New England to open up an 11-point lead, which is now down to 3.
Yeah, and now the story right now is Favre's situation and him leaving the game, and assuming that they do get the ball back, how prepared is Tavares Jackson if there's time on the clock in order to get him down the field. This was impressive coming in off the bench, his first play, and he throws the touchdown pass then to Tahi. And then he comes back off of that, throws the 2-point conversion to Percy Harvin, but has not gotten a lot of reps since training camp, I'm sure, on the 2-minute no huddle situation. I'm sure he's going over that on the sidelines there somewhere.
Minnesota with 1 timeout left. And that's a first down carry by Green Ellis. Algie Crumpler. A big block to spring him loose.
Well, that left side just collapses the middle, and then Algie Crumpler, he's the guy who kind of cleans it up. Watch the blocks here, and then Crumpler with the kick out, and then that's what creates the space. It's just working in tandem right there by that offensive line, and then Matt Light also. And Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, he's, like I said, he's not a real flashy guy, and sometimes that's good because sometimes you get someone who's pretty dynamic and wanting to break big plays every time they get the ball in their hands. They're running backs that then will lose a lot of yardage from time to time, but he's not one of those guys. Rarely do you see him take losses when he's running the football, and so that's something that you can build on and then depend on.
10th play of this drive after Minnesota scored a touchdown, converted on a 2-point conversion and get within 3. And now Green Ellis sniffing the end zone and is just short. Run out of bounds at the 1-yard line. And now Ray Edwards having a hard time getting back on his feet.
That's just poor defense right here by Minnesota, because whether it be Jared Allen or Chad Greenway, one of those 2 guys had outside contain. You've got to be able to turn that then back inside. And Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis just had a clean run there around that left side.
Second career 100-yard rushing game for Green Ellis. He had 4 carries for a total of 4 yards in the first half. Here in the second half, 12 rushes, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Well, you're talking about a young man who was a college free agent coming out of Ole Miss his first 2 years in the league. He had a total of 100 carries for not even 400 yards. And, after the injuries early on to Fred Taylor, the trade of Lawrence Maroney, Kevin Falk getting hurt, he's become their meat and potatoes guy.
Well, it was a long journey. I mean, there were a lot of bodies, as you said, ahead of him coming into this year.
Brady will chew up a little bit more clock. This will take us down to the 2-minute warning. Minnesota out of timeouts.
Well, but this is big right here. And this 3rd down right here, if Minnesota's able to hold them and keep this to a 1-possession game, this is huge. I mean, when Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis got it down to where he did, it was just a foregone conclusion they were going to punch this thing in and then turn it back into a 10-point game. But, this now becomes a huge 3rd down.
So we have reached the 2-minute warning. A 3-point Patriots advantage. 2-minute warning, 3rd and goal. Bill Belichick and the Patriots leading 21-18. Same personnel we saw in the last play on the quarterback keeper. And this time they give it to Green Ellis, and it's a touchdown.
Got Dan Connolly leading the way. Well, it's close right there. I think he did get in for the touchdown, but Dan Connolly, who typically is left guard, he lead blocks for Green Ellis.
I think the booth is going to review this. I think we have to keep an eye on here is the elbow of Green Ellis. Did it touch the ground before then his legs came flying through in somersault form to bring the ball over the plane into the end zone? Watch the elbow and whether it was down.
Well, the left elbow, you're right, Tom. The left elbow did hit the ground. I didn't see that initially when he was cartwheeling. I didn't think that he had hit the ground, so he then lands on a body and rolls in. But where is the ball then when the elbow hits? Now remember, they can piece all this together and try to determine the elbow's down there, and I'm not so sure that the ball's in, but because his body, his torso then is blocking a view of the ball, I'm not sure there's anything there to where they can overturn that.
It certainly looked like his elbow made contact before that ball broke the plane of the end zone. Let's check in with a former head of NFL officials now in our Fox Command Center, Mike Pereira. Mike, what do you think here?
Well, I think clearly the elbow does hit down, but that shot down the line, what happens is you can't see where the ball is when the elbow actually will hit, and you piece the two together. And again, I just don't think there's anything conclusive that you can change. Now, you know the elbow is going to hit somewhere right there, but where's the ball? You never see it. It's kind of down by his hip. You know, to me, this is one of those, again, the ruling on the field was touchdown. I don't think you change that. I think it's too tough to change.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. A touchdown.
It stands indeed. Mike Pereira, thank you. It's already getting chilly, and this one now officially close to being put on ice. Just under 2 minutes to go, but this point after would make it a 10-point lead.
Well, the Vikings had two opportunities on 3rd down to stop them, and they failed to do it.
Now they're getting warmed up in warmer climes for sure down in Texas. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee about the upcoming Game 4 of the World Series.
Well, Josh Hamilton of the Rangers hope that they are indeed heating up. Hamilton with that home run last night to help the Rangers get their first victory of the World Series, but Cody Ross and the Giants still have a 2-games-to-1 lead. Game 4 of the series comes your way after the OT, which follows your game. Tom, Troy, Pat.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Green Bay with a huge win earlier today over the Jets, which, you know, if New England takes a look, you know, at the AFC East tomorrow, New England will have the best record in the NFL, a half game better than the Steelers.
How about that? How about that for a team that came into this season supposedly in a year of transition, and you look at the draft class this year and the impact that those players have had. And then you look at the fact they trade Randy Moss, they traded Richard Seymour and got those picks. They've got 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s in next year's draft. I think the New England Patriots are going to be around for another 5 or 10 years.
Well, we came in talking so much the entire week and even before the game today about Brett Favre. He played a good game here today. 22 of 32 for 259 yards. You really can't blame him for the lone interception.
Yeah, the interception that he had, it wasn't a well-thrown ball, but it's not a pass that you expect to have intercepted. I thought he came in and as you would expect and as we've seen over the years. It seems like whenever you start to count him out, he comes out and has a heck of a performance. I thought he played well today also. I'll be curious. I think that chin is more than just a lacerated chin.
Tobias Jackson in the grasp of Mike Wright, and for Wright, that is a sack in 4 consecutive games. First Patriot to do that since Seymour, who you just mentioned back in 2008.
Well, Mike Wright's one of those guys that you just love having as a teammate. He plays hard every down, knows his role, and he's good at it.
Tobias Jackson on the run, still on his feet, up to the 43-yard line. Down to a minute 15. Our game today produced by Richie Zions and directed by Rich Russo. Jake Jolivet, our associate director, and our broadcast associates Rich Gross and Bentley Elliott. Our technical producer Joe Stevens and our technical director Colby Bourgeois. Troy, I'd like to thank you and the entire crew for all your hospitality. It's been fun sitting in for your regular partner Joe Buck, who of course will be back following the conclusion of the World Series this coming week, and you'll be back together again in Seattle. I'll make my way back with my regular partner Brian Billick.
Well, it's been a good 3 weeks, and we appreciate it every time when you come out. And I guess they're in Texas with Joe. The Rangers are going to try to give them the antlers and the claw, from what I understand. We'll see if they're successful with it. Yeah, I don't know where that originated, but
start number 81, offense. By rule, inside a minute with the clock running, 10 seconds will be run. Please set the game clock to 29 seconds, and the game clock will start on my signal.
Now let me ask you a quick question. You're going to Game 5 tomorrow night. There will be a Game 5 tomorrow night. Are you going to be doing that in the stands tomorrow in Arlington?
Heck yeah.
Good for you. Why not?
I was hoping my Padres would be in there, but since they're not, I'll be pulling for the Rangers. Absolutely.
Final seconds. Incomplete to the intended receiver, Klein Saucer. We talked about the AFC East. New England 6-1. In our meetings here on Friday, Troy, and you and I talked about it Friday night yesterday. I've been fortunate enough to be around professional sports for a long time, and I can never remember grown men talking about a head football coach, or in baseball talking about a manager, or an NBA head coach, whatever it might be. But professional athletes talk with the reverence they have for Bill Belichick and how confident they are that he will take them where they want to go.
Well, he's done a heck of a job, as we all know, and what he has earned is the right for those players to listen and trust what he tells them and what it's going to take each and every week for them to be successful. And the fact that they do have that kind of confidence in him, it goes a long way in why they've been as dominant, the most winning team over the last 11 years.
Our visit with Deion Branch, who of course was here originally, went to Seattle where he played for a couple of different coaches and very much enjoyed it in Seattle, especially his days with Mike Holmgren. He said, but man, I come back here and all of a sudden Bill Belichick walks in the meeting. He's given the entire scouting report on the team they're getting ready to play.
Well, what Deion Branch came back to was, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And as long as the Patriots have those two guys, I think they're going to be in the hunt each and every year.
Game's final play, a completed pass to Gerhardt. And the New England Patriots go to 6-1. 28-18 the final, and certainly our thoughts are with Brett Favre. We hope that it's nothing more serious than that lacerated chin. It didn't look good. And we're back to Foxborough to wrap things up. Right after these messages, Belichick and the Patriots 10-point winners.